Hello, my name is Billy Mullins. This is my thesis defense video on my World War I paper that tanks were a war-winning weapon that helped turn around the stalemate that occurred due to trench warfare in World War I. And I specifically in my paper talk about the Allies and the Americans' contribution to tank warfare. The British first introduced the first Mark tank and attempted to break German lines, which they were initially successful in doing so. But due to the use or new use of tanks, not knowing how to use them with infantry, artillery, aircraft, and combined arms, the gains were limited at first. I also discuss in the paper the psychological aspects of the tank, the morale aspects of having the tank, and the positive psychological effects on the Allies having these large, powerful machines on their side that give them a morale boost, versus on the German side, the morale deficit that they were in, facing these seemingly unstoppable inhuman machines. In warfare, it was not accustomed to not seeing your opponent at this time. So this was a new development at the time, and the Allies benefited greatly from it. And I discuss also that Germany, due to their failure of recognizing the benefit of the tank early on, were slow to produce any tanks of their own. The A7 that they produced, they really only had about 50 models throughout the whole war, and they had captured some German the Germans had captured some British tanks and repurposed them, but did not use them in any significant number or quantity to make a difference. The timing and introduction of the tank was very key in the final blow to the German war machine. The Americans had just come into the war, bringing a lot of fresh men and material, and the war production capacity of the United States was overwhelming. I mentioned that the Ford Motor Company had an order for 15,000 American-made tanks that were loosely based on the French model. And the Germans, by this time, after their great offensive of 1918 had failed, they knew that they were really against it in terms of time, that they had to have one final push to see if they could beat the Allies, and that push failed. And once it failed, the prospect of facing hundreds of tanks actually on the battlefield, the Allies' 100-day offensive had hundreds of tanks that were involved. Americans used these tanks, the Allies spread them out, and the future prospect of thousands and thousands of these machines being on the battlefield was just overwhelming to the German war machine and the German morale. They knew they could not compete with this. And as the war went on, the Allies were constantly tweaking and using different tactics to use the tank better. And by the end of the war, they were doing an early form of combined arms tactics involved. Really advanced stuff for that time. And Germany, due to the lack of investing resources early on into tank development, had no hope of catching up with the Allies at this point. Therefore, I make the argument that the introduction of the tank by the Allies, due to the right timing, the right use, and the right placement of it, made the war winnable for the Allies and doomed Germany. Thank you. Have a great day.